Hello students, today will be discuss about stream of consciousness। आज का हमारा टॉपिक क्या है? स्ट्रीम ऑफ कॉन्शियसनेस। ओके, जो कि ये टर्म है यूज किया है वर्जीनिया वुल्फ ने। A far more exciting use of the stream of consciousness technique was made by Virginia Woolf, who began her literary career by publishing The Voice out 1915 in the manner of H. G. Wells, Arnold Bennett and Galsworthy, but later on she followed the stream of consciousness technique with a slight variation, then followed by James Joyce and Dorothy Richardson. Virginia Woolf wrote her remarkable stream of consciousness novels Mrs. Dalloway, To the Lighthouse, The Babes and Between the Acts. स्ट्रीम ऑफ कॉन्शियसनेस इज अ लिटरेरी टेक्निक। ये क्या है? एक लिटरेरी टेक्निक है विच वॉज पायनियर्ड बाय डोरोथी रिचर्डसन, वर्जीनिया वुल्फ एंड जेम्स जॉयस। Stream of consciousness is characterized by a flow of thoughts and images, which may not always appear to have a coherent structure or cohesion. The plot line may weave in and out of time and place, carrying the reader through the life span of a character or further along a timeline to incorporate the lives of characters from other time. Now let us deal with some of the objections that have been brought against the stream of consciousness novel. Professor Joseph Borenbeach in the 20th century novel Studies in Technique says that the stream of consciousness novel is limited in its future by its invariable application to neurotics. Another critic, Professor Hoffman, in his book The Modern Novel in America, 1950, regards the subject of stream of consciousness fiction as a historically interesting place of novelistic method corollary to popular interest in Freudian approach to sex life. Both the charges against the stream of consciousness novel have been squarely met by Professor Robert Humphrey in his memorable book Stream of Consciousness in the Modern Novel. Both Professor Weitz and Professor Hoffman's errors are those of misplaced emphasis. The aspect of stream of consciousness literature which emphasize the neurotic and Freudian sex life are not what distinguish it. One might argue, for example, that the characters in Ulysses and To the Lighthouse are not more possible, much less neurotic than are those in the American tragedy. Point counterpoint, and the sun also rises to see nothing of those in Antigone and Sanctuary. Nor is the historical reflection of popular Freudianism more apparent in Mrs. Dalloway and Pilgrimage than it is in Sons and Lovers and The Great Gatsby. What was happened is this: when personality is examined hard, closely and candidly, when personality is examined as closely and candidly as it has been in the 20th century novel In and Out of Stream of Consciousness, it appears as an individual and not as a norm. And if we have not been convinced in this century that everyone is abnormal, that the so-called neurotic condition is the general condition, we have learned nothing essential about ourselves at all. The Stream of Consciousness novel has given us empirical evidence for this truth. In literary criticism, Stream of Consciousness is a narrative mode or method that attempts to depict the multitudinous thoughts and feelings which pass through the mind of a narrator. The term was coined by Daniel Oliver in 1840 in First Lines of Physiology, designed for the use of students of medicine, when he wrote, "If we separate from this mingled and moving stream of consciousness our sensations and volitions, which are constantly giving it a new direction, and suffer it to pursue its own spontaneous course. It will appear upon examination that this, instead of being wholly fortuitous and uncertain, is determined by certain fixed laws of thought, which are collectively termed the association of ideas. The stream of consciousness technique enjoyed its heyday from 1915 to 1941, but its influence did not come to an end with the publication of Between the Acts 1941. The genre has been assimilated into the greater body of fictional method. Ulysses and Mrs. Dalloway, in their very different style, remarks Edwin Moore, seems to be more in the pure aesthetic tradition of prose fiction than the work of the preceding generation. The work of the major novelists of the mid-century, Elizabeth Vaughan, Graham Greene, Catherine Anne Porter, Robert Penn, Warren Dalmore, and Eudora Welty, has not only accepted unuttered consciousness as a legitimate subject, but is even automatically formed in the image of the great experimental stream of consciousness novels. However, if the novel is to fulfill its purpose as the agent of moral imagination, structure is as necessary as ever it was. The major novelists of today should attempt to bear the stream of consciousness technique to an adequate conception of structure. Only then the novel can hope to fulfill itself. Let us illustrate Virginia Woolf's use of stream of consciousness technique through her first major novel. Mrs. Dalloway, Clarissa Dalloway, Peter Walsh, and Septimus Warren Smith are the chief characters. Clarissa Dalloway is the central figure through whose stream of thought the events are seen in the novel. Her garden parties to be attended by the eminent persons and the great dignitaries, including the Prime Minister of Britain, one day depicted for old age of human life. In this novel, sometimes the depicted for old age of human life. In this novel, sometimes the depicted for old age of human life, reader moves into the consciousness of the character who is stationary in the space at other time. He observes various events occurring in the space at a time, and the mental reactions of various characters have been portrayed in the novel. Clarissa Dalloway characters have been portrayed in the novel. Who has gone to buy flowers in the marketplace, is in London, and sees Whitbread. She recalls how she once liked Who Whitbread. Peter Walsh. She remembers the Lady Waxrow, Richard Dalloway, Elizabeth, Miss Gilman, and then comes to Mulberries for flowers. Mrs. Dalloway's mind moves backward, her consciousness shifting from object to object and person to person. At other time, the characters are fixed in time. The consciousness of many persons has been delineated. The example of this is the explosion of motor car in Mrs. Dalloway. Mrs. Pym goes to the window and apology. Edgar J. Watkins says humorously, Prime Minister's career. Septimus Warren Smith also hears him. The movement of the car sets people conjecturing as to whose car it Lucrezia speculates that perhaps Queen is inside the car. People and children also are glancing at the car and the special personage occupying it. Mrs. Dalloway, coming out of Mulberries with her flowers, guesses that perhaps there is Queen in it. Similarly, the skywriting of an aeroplane draws the crowd. Mrs. Coates looks up at the sky. The aeroplane is writing ACE and L. Mrs. Blakely says that is N.E. Mrs. Bowling says it is toffee. Lucretia Warren Smith also looks at the sky. We see Maggie Johnson and Mrs. Dempster's reactions. And then Mrs. Dalloway's stream of thought has been presented. Virginia Woolf selects a point of Mrs. Dalloway's consciousness and lets her stream of thoughts flow. The aspect of stream of consciousness literature which emphasized the neurotic and Freudian sex life are not what distinguishes it. One might argue, for example, that the characters in Ulysses and To the Lighthouse are not more possible, much less neurotic than are those in the American tragedy Point Counterpoint, Paint, and the Sun Also Rises, to say nothing of those in Antique and Sanctuary. Nor is the historical reflection of popular Freudianism more apparent in Mrs. Dalloway and Pilgrim's than it is in Sons and Lovers and The Great Gatsby. What has happened is this: when personality is examined as closely and candidly as it has been in 20th century novel in and out of a stream of consciousness, it appears as an individual and not as a norm. And if we have not been convinced in this century that everyone is abnormal, that the so-called neurotic condition is a general condition, we have learned nothing essential about ourselves at all. The stream of consciousness novel has given us empirical evidence for this truth. That's it. Thank you for watching.